Chattanooga is the fourth largest city in the state of Tennessee. It sits along the border of two states, Tennessee and Georgia, along the Tennessee River. As of 2020, the population came in at 181,099 residents, and that number is expected to increase due to the rapid growth in the metropolitan area. It is known for certain scenic city attractions, such as the Chattanooga Choo Choo, Ruby Falls, the Tennessee Aquarium, and Rock City. However, despite the city's largest tourist attractions, Chattanooga is also known for its deep, dark secrets of hauntings that plague the city. Whether it's the poltergeists that frequent hotels, the murdered Civil War soldiers that make appearances, the faded images of indigenous native peoples dancing around campfires, or the sightings of the undead among cemeteries and college campuses, the city is filled with the repercussions of the past. Follow me down the rabbit hole as we explore more hauntings in my original hometown and uncover some of the most terrifying places to live and visit. This is Haunted Hometown Horror Stories, Season 2. Want to hear another ghost story? Sit down, I have another one for you. In this episode of the Haunted Hometown Horror Stories, we will be exploring the scary happenings in the state of Tennessee, but this time it's not a haunted lake, house, or hospital. The next haunted place that we will be discussing is located in Wartrace, Tennessee, which is about 94 miles away from Chattanooga, Tennessee itself. It is an estimated 1 hour and 26-minute drive away from the city. Downtown Wartrace has a hidden haunted treasure that we will be discussing in this particular video, the Walking Horse Hotel, located in the Wartrace Historic District. Wartrace is about an hour away from Nashville, Tennessee, and has a small population of 653 people as of April 2020. Due to it being the capital of the Tennessee walking horse industry and franchise, it is often referred to as the cradle of the Tennessee walking horse. Small town history. The name itself, Wartrace, originates from Native American culture and was named from a trail that formerly passed through the town back in the day. The town itself used to be called Wartrace Depot and served as the winter headquarters for the Confederate Army member General William Hardee during the American Civil War. It served as a gathering place for Confederate soldiers for the duration of the Tullahoma Campaign. This is also where a fight at Wartrace occurred on April the 11th, 1862. The name Wartrace preceded itself due to the amount of bloodshed that it would eventually see. It became destroyed by the war, while many Union and Confederate soldiers called Wartrace home due to staying in its hotels and inns in between battles. Consequently, the small town was subject to being bloodied and battered by its travelers. Nonetheless, Wartrace has an enriched history in the country's warfare, railroad travel, and horse breeding. Similar to the rise of the Chattanooga Choo Choo, Wartrace also experienced an increase of the railroad travel and trade in the late 19th century. During its peak, the town had 13 trains traveling daily as well as 6 inns and hotels in operation. However, the only remaining hotel from that time that is still around present day is the Walking Horse Hotel. Now let's get into some of that history. The Walking Horse Hotel was originally built in 1917 as a railroad hotel called the Hotel Overall. Later in 1933, the hotel was purchased by Floyd and Olive Carruthers. Around the late 1930s, the hotel became a base for a group of horse trainers who formed the Tennessee Walking National Celebration, which was an annual horse show that was first held back in 1939. Consequently, the name of the establishment was changed to the Walking Horse Hotel. The very first winner of the show was named Strolling Jim, whom was trained and owned by Floyd Carruthers, the hotel owner. He is said to be buried behind the hotel. The horse, that is, not the owner. Consequently, in 2015, a framed portrait of Strolling Jim was displayed at the Tennessee Walking Horse National Museum. However, his owner, Floyd Carruthers, died in 1944, leaving the hotel operations and ownership solely to Olive Carruthers, his wife, until the year 1958. Throughout the years, the building was sold numerous times and was eventually renovated in 1995 when it was reopened as the hotel overall. However, that was short-lived as the hotel closed back down just several years later. The hotel was renovated once again in 2007 by the current owner, Joe Peters, and it holds the famous Walking Horse Hotel name as well as the Strolling Jim restaurant. The hauntings. Just like most of the stories we've covered already on this channel, the American Civil War is one of the origins of the horrors that plagued the nation. Just as the soldiers from the war were negatively impacted in the horror stories from the Sheridan Hotel, aka the Reed House, the Chattanooga Choo Choo, the Missionary Ridge, and several other instances, this haunting of the Walking Horse Hotel is no different. During the Civil War, the Union soldiers will often release some Confederate prisoners of war at the Walking Horse Hotel when the war was over. However, a large amount of soldiers were malnourished or really sick. Therefore, their days of freedom were numbered, and many perished inside of the hotel. Sounds familiar? Moreover, the previous owner, George Knight, stated that guests will often rush to him in a flustered state, citing that strange apparitions were haunting the upstairs hallways. Knight was the owner of the hotel in the 1980s, and he says that he knows at least one of the spirits that calls the hotel home, Floyd Carruthers. Knight believed that Floyd loved the hotel so much that he was determined to keep it safe even after all of these years. There was one mysterious event that stands out in Knight's mind the most. One night he was at home. He felt a strange urge to go back to the hotel to check on things. However, when he arrived to the hotel, he noticed a small fire. Luckily, he arrived in the nick of time to extinguish it before it became catastrophic and burnt down the entire building. Now, I know that one sounds familiar. A similar story occurred in episode 5, where Captain Mike Williams said that he believed that Ma Green woke him up from his sleep and led him to discover water in the hallway. He then had to repair a busted pipe on the Delta Queen steamboat. Now, if you are unfamiliar with that tale, please feel free to check out that video after this one. So, back to this story. There was another owner named Joe Peters, who is the current owner we've discussed, whom was aware of the countless paranormal reports from previous owners. While he did not believe the hotel was evil nor demonic, he did believe it was haunted indeed. He recants a mysterious time that alarmed him when guests informed him about it. They said that they heard hoof sounds of horses on the ground floor and a sound of a large group of horses galloping across the upstairs hallways. Later, there would be other reports stating that they were hearing unexplained voices, gunshots, experienced personal items disappearing, and saw and or heard humans running up and down the hotel hallways at night. Also, guests have reported strange occurrences during their stays, such as soldiers' apparitions upstairs, even leaning up against open doorway panes, wandering the halls during the evening time, and peeking into rooms. However, one guest cited a more frightening encounter. From her experience at the hotel, she heard a sudden loud bang in the wall while she was attempting to go to sleep. It startled her. She immediately sat up because she thought the wall was falling down on her. Confused and scared, she ran to the front desk to report the incident. To her amazement, the staff explained to her that the room next door to her was vacant. There was supposed to not be anybody in that room. So the staff went upstairs to immediately check it out and to ensure that the room really was empty and that no one had weaseled their way in there unnoticed. When they arrived inside of the room, it in fact was empty as expected. But the experience was far from over. Now, the hotel employees assured the lady that everything was okay and they sent her back to her room, still shaken up. She attempted to lay back down and get some sleep. She hoped that maybe the banging came from an old pipe system in the walls, and that thought comforted her, so she managed to fall back asleep. However, in the middle of the night, she was awakened by the sight of an apparition of a tall, skinny man glaring down at her from the foot of the bed. Fear froze over her, and she initially thought it could be a deranged hotel guest that had broken in her room, but she was wrong. According to the reports, the ghost started floating up to the ceiling and then above her bed. Then he disappeared into the ceiling and did not return for the remainder of the night. Now, there's another creepy encounter regarding the hotel that occurred back in the 1970s. There was a Vietnam veteran that stayed in the haunted hotel, and unfortunately, something troubling happened to trigger his PTSD from the war. It resulted in him having a horrible flashback, and he fatally shot 4 other hotel guests. On another note, the hotel has said to have 11 out of the 13 rooms to experience active paranormal activity. Guests have often reported strong sensations of being watched, but there's never anyone else in the room staring back at them, at least anyone that they can see with their naked eyes. Also, there were other documented experiences that report guests seeing doors open and close on their own, feelings of dizziness, nausea, and or lightheadedness during certain nights at the hotel. What's even more creepy is that the reports of seeing a tall man with a slicked back black hairstyle and a thin mustache in their presence. Now that kind of sounds like that man that was above that woman's bed earlier, but yeah. In addition to the hotel guests and staff accounts of the paranormal activity that takes place there, the Walking Horse Hotel was actually shown on an episode of My Ghost Story television show on the Travel Channel back in 2012. The segment was named Dead Horse Walking. The historic site was also broadcasted on another show, Haunted Live, in 2018, Wraith Chasers. The group did an investigation at the Walking Horse Hotel during a live stream with viewers on social media. This episode was also on the Travel Channel. Now, present day, the hotel is currently still open and contains the Strolling Gem restaurant, which was named after the World Grand Championship winning show horse that belonged to the original owner, Floyd Carruthers, of course. Now, the restaurant serves 3 meals daily. Since the hotel's renovation in 2007, it now contains the Shea Music Lounge in honor of the owner's late wife. The hotel has 7 rooms available to rent, and despite the reportings of seeing ghosts and experiencing paranormal phenomenon, people all over the U.S. still travel to this hotel. And of course, naturally, paranormal researchers have stayed there to see if the rumors are true. And they typically do leave with a large amount of alarming evidence of paranormal activity from their investigations as well. Nevertheless, no matter how far apart these hauntings may be from one another, they have a lot of things in common. American Civil War soldiers, slavery, Native Americans, and death resulting from war injuries. Those topics are always the perfect equation for devastation and long-term effects from the ones that do not rest in peace. Now, if you made it this far in the video, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoy this type of content, go ahead. Feel free to look around and even subscribe if it makes you comfortable. And if you liked it, then you should have put a like on it. Sharing the video is caring. And until next time, I will see you in the next one.